Yeah, we had that argument on day number 1. Which statues were better, the Medusa ones
Oh
or the
my
monkey
god,
ones? Yeah.
Very.
yeah.
We did get the answer to it. It was the Medusa ones at the time, so it might end up this way. But I want to focus on the Phoenix and Undying pickups for T1. You know, I don't recall the last time I even really saw Phoenix. It used to be something that was picked up a lot, and then it just kind of fell off, or just was no longer in the flavor of the month.
I've seen him some more.
Okay.
I literally just mentioned the LGD E-Home game. It was in that game as
There you
well.
go.
Yeah, I don't know. I've seen some more
And
Phoenix.
all the heroes. Yeah.
Yeah. He lost though.
Ooh, doesn't bode well.
Yeah, what I do like about these two heroes though is I feel like they both sort of dissuade Monkey from being a core. Because obviously I like him a lot against DK and lane. Playing against melee heroes, Monkey core is always a happy time. And like Parker said, being able to Wukongs in an area where Medusa wants to just stand and hit. That's what she does as a hero. Yeah, those are really great matchups for him. But now Phoenix and Undying make his fights a lot harder. You want to deal damage with your ult, but Phoenix Egg requires you to, get to it and click it, and your ult really doesn't do anything against it.
Yeah.
With Nigma Galaxy C having that last pick, then do you want them to potentially end up picking a carry and shuffling that Monkey King then? Obviously waiting for T1's last pick.
I would say yes, but it depends what the carry is. And I think one of the real strength of this early Medusa pick, when your opponents have last pick, is the carries that are good against Medusa. There's only a few of them, and you kind of know who they are, so they're going to get banned out. TBAM get banned. They could have PL'd in this second phase, but they generally you're gonna you want to see the entire draft before you pick it. PL, if you pick it too early, they could like less track or something against it. So I think we get to this last pick, and it's like this is often the weakness with having that final pick of the draft is you're like, yeah, we got last pick. What counters that draft? And you're like, well, the heroes that counter it are all banned. So what do we get? You get this last pick of the draft where it's like this wasn't even that good.
I really love Cole with Storm for obvious reasons. Storm's damage comes from his mana pool, and Cole gives that. But I think Lina would have been absolutely incredible for Nigma's lineup. They, talking about this Phoenix,
Oh, wow, yeah.
I forgot to mention as well, Undying provides another thing that needs to be hit in fights. You have the Tombstone, you have the Egg. These are both things that Monkey very much struggles to deal with. Lina, amazing at both. She can, she has such far range. She can help deal with both. Not to mention, Lina versus Medusa is quite a very nice matchup for her because she also has long range and can fight back. I don't know, and it's also magical nuke to help deal with Dragon Knight, who's high armor. It's just, it would have been such a nice pick here.
Do you think there's no way they could work into their lineup at all? Does it become just way too greedy?
Not now.
Yeah, I don't think the Storm and Lina.
Maybe
I think the
four?
other approach, obviously, I agree with everything you're saying, but the reason maybe Storm is good against these heroes is because you just disengage against Supernova, against Tombstone, Medusa. You can always disengage. But that's, I think, assuming they pick a carry that can also disengage here, which is usually like your Blink heroes, like your anti-mages. PL's a hero that can disengage, so I feel like they want a hero that can just, now there's Death Prophet. Exorcism comes into play. So I feel like now more than ever, they need a way to basically say, okay, this fight's bad, let's get out. Which Storm can do. Make sure you have a carry that can just say, yeah, this fight sucks. Let's reset.
Very true.
It's my only problem though is that you can't just disengage from every fight ever. You have a Mars as well who's very anti that. Like he wants to jump in an arena or something, and it's like your lineup becomes weird if you're like, okay, we're just gonna run away from every single fight. You have to fight at some point, and I think T1 already banned out most of the good things.
If they could get anti-mage here, I'd be like, yeah, NGX's draft is fine. Yeah,
So,
it's banned.
Okay, that's good.
Drow?
Something that can deal with Egg and Tombstone was definitely what I was mostly looking for, since no one else on their team does.
Well, look, there you go. Full lineups now, and so bringing in Mike and John to kind of hear what they have to say with it. This time, Mike, if you'd like to go first, give me your thoughts and obviously a prediction as well. Can't let you escape that one.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, the thing is, there's no one to hit the Phoenix Egg this game apart from the Drow, and Drow's just, I don't know, it's a garbage tier hero, so I don't really have much faith in it whatsoever. I think it's how it is. Drow just doesn't win games. I don't believe in this draft whatsoever. I think T1 have got this.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm with Mike on this one. I like T1's draft. I like that they've got the Undying with a Phoenix. As you guys mentioned, lots of things to hit. The Drow can't focus on everyone. And it's going to be a bit tough for NGX to ride it over. I'm keen to see if they can make it work, but I'd say T1 has the draft.
Before we jump into it, I want you to argue your case as to why Dro's good.
I think Drow is completely fine. I think, like, in your dream, Kami-sama, he's so good at Drow. He's a hero he's played a bunch of times. And, like, I think last season, especially, when we were covering Europe East, they also had players in that region that were playing Drow, making it look amazing. They were, like, banging her out last pick in drafts and just destroying the game. Like, I am a believer. I think T1... probably a stronger team.
Are you enough of a believer to say that it will go to a game number 3 then?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, all right. Well, there's
However,
your
I
answer.
don't think it's Drow's fault.
There's your answer, as we are going to jump into game number 2 with Mike and John.
Oh, there you have it, Jonathan. We have a believer in the Drow Ranger, but you and I, we've been here long enough. We know this hero doesn't work in SEA. We'll see how it goes. I mean, NGX, obviously, they've got the full roster together. They've got a new draft on their hand. Let's see how it goes, Jonathan.
Yeah, I think this shakeup should be a lot better. I mean, you've got Jokam and Mizu together, so the Kotal and Mars are together this time around. You've got the Monkey King that could be our pos 5 coming through from Politzin on that safe lane. So I think having a stronger combo for the Keeper makes this game a lot easier in comparison to game 1, where you had Lifesteal or Keeper of Light. That couldn't do anything. I mean, on Interior, again, you had a lot of slows, but you had nothing to really keep anyone behind. You had no hard stuns. So you get more value here for the offlane. I'm keen to see if that is enough to change it. But as Sheep mentioned, it feels like T1, they're back in form, Mike. So it just feels like they might be, if they're close to their peak, on paper, they should be the better team.
Absolutely. And we are within a pause right now, which is why you're looking at our very, well, I don't want to say handsome faces, John. Definitely very, very ugly casting duo you and I are. But you have been looking very, very good with those sunglasses, by the way. In fact, I was going to say to you, John, after your eyes have recovered, can we just leave the glasses on? Is that possible?
We could. I don't know if my eyes could still see through the sunglasses once they have adjusted the sensitivity. You know, everything's going to be a bit too dark, but we'll see. As usual, we do have a lovely view that we can all see right now coming in from Pitian. Always good to have that coming in. It's great to have him back. But this game, it feels like make or break. You know, NGX needs to push it to game 3. They've had a rough start. I mean, well, they had a good start with that forfeit win, but they need to find more wins. You know, that top 3, the slots for the majors are so tenuous. But only having a single round robin, as we always say every week, Mike, every series counts. So we need to see NGX push it to the limit and force T1 to another game. But again, considering that last performance, T1 just looks on point again.
Well, let's see what happens, John. Let's see what happens. Nice little courier here with the Monkey King. Very, very cute. I believe that is a seal, Jonathan. You ever seen a seal in real life? Very, very cute.
I think I have. I went to Subic one time when I was a kid. It's a funny story. Yeah, Subic, it's actually kind of northwards of Manila. So we went there as kids. There's a water park, not a water park, like an aquarium park place. They had a bunch of seals, and I was talking to like the trainers. They liked me so much because I was speaking English. They found it weird. So they let me actually, you know, have a photo op with the seals for free. That was nice.
Wow.
So I'm happy about that, Mike. One time it worked.
That. Someone else liking johnxfire. Could you imagine? Wow. I mean, even before you became a caster, you're getting free photos with seals now at the aquarium. Well, that's really good to hear, John. Congratulations. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you, Mike. And it's one of the highlights of my childhood. The only time I wasn't being made fun of because I was different, you know? It's a funny place, that childhood. Still, what's not funny is this game. It's a very serious game, Mike. We've got to see the A game coming out from NGX. We're seeing Alacrity up against Carl in the mid. It's a DP lane. I don't expect the Storm to have that massive spike at level 3 with a Vortex. A lot harder to do against a Death Prophet. And of course, you have to play against the Spirit Siphon. So every time you do gap close to try to Remnant chain combination, Carl's just going to win out. So it should be a little bit more of a passive lane with Carl winning out just from, you know, being more durable and being able to spam out more.
Of course, we can head towards that top lane as well, where you are going to see the Deucer being played by Gabby and White Mono, one of your favorite heroes, John, the Undying, against Jokam and Mizu. Now, talk to us about it, John. I mean, you love this Undying hero. Is it good right now, and do you think it suits the lane matchup?
It plays really nicely into this early aggression we see from this meta, right? Like, it does feel like the games can go a lot faster. And we kind of saw Whitemon do a lot of good work on the Abaddon. Undying, almost the same. You have a good heal, you can throw your body forward, you don't have as much of a good slow in comparison with the Tombstone, but you drop the strength on that Kotal a couple of times, he's going to be really easy to rip apart. So it's just making it a lot harder for Jokam to hold the lane. Obviously, up against a strength hero like Mars, it takes away some of his damage as well. So you feel really good. Whitemon's already ready as well. He's got 4 mangoes, Mike. He's living the March dream. He's going to be force-feeding himself to keep that aggression up.
Yeah, absolutely. love to see it. Whitemon chewing up those mangoes, just annoying the crap out of JoeCam and Mizu right now. And of course, I love these voice lines, by the way, that the T1 are using. Down at bot lane, Zephyr and Cuckoo against Polison and In Your Dream. This lane, John, I mean, it's a Drow Ranger against a Dragon Knight, against the Phoenix. It should be okay in terms of survivability. Can't say the same, though, in terms of CS. I mean, it's already very challenging to go against DK in a laning phase, especially when it's Cuckoo playing this hero. And on top of that, you're playing Drow, who doesn't have the greatest attack animation. It's not very fun to CS with Drow. So what do you think, John? What can they do about this on the side of NGX.SEA?
They can't do much. They could try to be aggressive once Paulson, say, has level 3. So every single spell up, maybe build up some Jingu stacks, try to run down Cuckoo. There's always the threat of the Fire Spirits. Zephyr's done a great job of just timing that. Ooh.
Yeah, Alacrity's in big trouble. Carl gonna be able to find a solo pick-off onto that DP. Alacrity getting close to be able to turn, but there's your tips out, Cuckoo. Your hand went over, and Carl, well, he's off to another very nice start here, Jonathan.
Yeah, it's just that point again. Storm can't out-regen a DP. Rune control feels really equally important for both. I'd say Storm struggles a lot more if you can't take control of water runes and power runes. And you're building up on the strong start for Carl. Once he has that Exo, he can look to push down the lane. Could have the value point in silence early as well. Big hindrance for the Storm to do anything. And every lane just looking good for T1. Even the top lane that we're seeing right now. Whitemon's still doing a good job of zoning out. You're still getting steady farm on Gabby. Not as fast as you'd expect. Even kind of matching In Your Dream, but he has a lot more than nice. Look at the levels on Mizu. Still level 2, about to hit 3, but just this kind of work coming out from Whitemon to stall out on the level 3 timings with level 2 Spear, level 2 God's Rebuke, it makes it so much more manageable for Gabby.
Gabby losing a lot of mana there through that Illuminate from JoeCam. Even losing his Courier, but he does get his items off. Still happy days here for T1, it seems. They just aren't able to deal with Whitemon on this Undying. And, well, this is where the hero shines naturally. And as I say that, they do spear him up. It just isn't going to make a difference. He'll just keep walking around, keep spamming Decay. He has hit level 3 now, though Whitemon has not skilled anything else up. John, prediction, Tombstone or Soul Rip?
You could go... There's an argument for every single spell here. I feel like you don't need Soul Rip as much, because Deuce is getting really tanky with just Mana Shield. So you could afford to maybe go for a 2-0-1 build. Tombstone, just having that additional slow in the next few team fights is going to be nice. But it's pretty open. I don't think there's a lot of pressure on the Undying to get the Tombstone out every time. It's just a little bonus. And that does leave Whitemon fairly open. But I would love to see that Tombstone down.
What kind of example are you setting?
He's down right now, Mizu. Not going to be able to get the job done. Gabby now going to be harassed out a little bit, and it seems like they are slowly getting their footing here in this top lane as Gabby now does avoid the Illuminate. Whitemon, however, did not, and he cops so much damage from it. Very fire up. In the meantime, In Your Dream does go down bot lane, but never mind that because Whitemon is still going with the Tombstone. Ooh. He jukes out the Illuminate just barely. Oh, he would have felt that on the backside. Mizu and JoeCam still trying. JoeCam, one more time he'll try it, but again he's gonna miss Whitemon. Just breaking ankles here in this top lane, and he's perfectly fine. He'll survive through it.
Yep, he's probably gonna need to reset or just walk all the way back. Looks like he might consider a neutral deny. We do get a lot of value there. A lot of the focus was on Whitemon. Gabby gets to sit back. He doesn't need any regen. He do manage to find a nice kill though onto Carl. So they do manage to help Alacrity go back, but he loses his mid. So it's tough now for NGX. Early momentum's definitely in T1's way. With mid tower gone, you can't expect too many stacks built up and well protected for NGX. It's just going to be easy for T1 to invade now.
Oh, it was just, you know, you kind of ask yourself, is it worth it for Carl to do that? I think absolutely so. I mean, you just shine out the jungle straight away, and just make it very hard for NGX.SEA to be able to rely on that jungle farming later on. Keep in mind, they have a Drow Ranger, John. I mean, In Your Dream is going to be very reliant on being able to go back to that jungle and just hit creeps forever. Now without that T1 mid tower, it's just not going to be the same.
Yeah, it's going to feel pretty rough for In Your Dream. He does have decent farming pace with multi-shot, so he shouldn't lag too far behind Gabby, but that jungle difference is certainly going to show up. You are starting to see a little bit more aggression from NGX up top, though, Mike. They are playing around with that Chakra onto Mizu, enabling the Mars to just keep that spell spam out. And once you hit level 6, that could be the point here for NGX, where they will look for that kill opportunity onto Gabby. I think T1's got to be ready to back that Dusa up. They've been very happy with just playing their lanes. We haven't seen too many rotations in comparison to NGX, but NGX are looking to get online relatively soon here, Mike.
Yeah, here comes Whitemon again, forcing Mizu out. They've been trying their absolute best to slow Gabby down, and they've done a decent job of it. Only 31 and 11 in terms of CS on the Dusa, but difference being is you're always going to have that triangle to go back to as this Medusa. And sure, you've got a Monkey King on the other side of things for NGX.SEA to scout all that out, but we'll have to wait and see if that all pans out. So right now, just a 1-2, very slight net worth lead here for T1. And I'm kind of wondering at what stage Carl wants to make his way down to the bot lane to try to secure that bot T1 tower.
I mean, he's kind of set to do it. Exorcism's going to go off cooldown soon. Maybe he's just going to wait for the 8-minute rune to come out and just kind of run around once that's up. But it does feel like the slower pace will favor T1. You know, it just feels like T1 is known as that slower team, as the panels pointed out multiple times. They work the map so well with just small map advantages. And we're just not seeing the effect of, say, Paulson on the Monkey King with the tree dance. Like, it needs to be an active hero. I think Sheepo pointed this out, but when your enemy team is not really active, you can't punish much with your vision, because they're just going to be sitting in the same spots, playing the lanes, getting farm, and you can't do as much with that vision advantage than you'd really want to with a Monkey.
Here we go, T1 smoked up as 2. They'll head down towards the bot lane through the river. In fact, speaking of that bot lane in your dream, you're setting up for a defense, but this could be a very hard ask because they make the jump in immediately onto Cuckoo in that Dragon Form, but Zephyr, he'll be there with the Sun Ray. It will be cancelled though. Cuckoo gonna drop straight off the bat, and now they can chase for more. Zephyr trying to abuse those Fire Spirits. Eventually he should drop, however, and does. Alacrity able to clean up down to the bot side. And T1, they were only about 5 seconds away from Carl being able to jump in, but it's all too late. Cuckoo was already gone.
Some really big kills to come out from NGX as well. That kind of cancels off that smoke rotation from T1. They opt to back off. Don't really have the silence up in Carl yet to get some counter control going with the DK dead. So they get some space out for In Your Dream to build up. Issue is they're ganking the DK, right? Like, Gabby's still free farming top. He's been solo for a while. No pressure there at all. No vision in that jungle. We're not seeing Paulson commit there as well with the tree dance. So I think T1's just keeping them in the right spot. Like, they're dragging all this attention away from that big win condition on the Dusa.
Bot lane, Whitemon, Zephyr, but it's going to be scouted out. There's the tree cut though from Whitemon, and he does get the tombstone down though. He's dropping low, but never mind. Decay and Sunray is there, and he will survive as Paulson now is the one in danger. He'll drop In Your Dream. He'll keep going after the Phoenix and Mizu. He's going to join in with the arena. Maybe they've got Carl down. Illuminate goes right through him. He's not down yet. The Spirit Siphon's going, but it's not enough. NGX.SEA able to fight back. They prepare themselves for that defense. They make it happen. A 4-for-1 trade. And that's exactly what you wanted to see from this Radiant team.
They're getting their spikes early. They've got really good levels on their supports. Issue for T1 here, Mike, is that they don't have anything like the egg up on Zephyr yet. You don't have that big presence from the Undying with the Flesh Golem up yet. They are fairly under-leveled because of all the movements out. So NGX can run in. They've got a lot of damage coming through from these prolonged fights. They've got a lot of vision coming up with Paulson, even if his tree gets cut. You are still finding that farm on Gabby, and despite all that movement, there's not much of a net worth lead yet for NGX. Gabby's still sort of behind in comparison to Alacrity, but Carl's still on top right now on that DP, tied up with Alacrity. In Your Dream still trying to catch up. Still a relatively even game. The important thing for NGX is to hold on to that bot tower. Once you lose that bot tower, it opens up T1's farm a lot more, protects their triangle even more. And I think that NGX understands that. They're committing a lot of resources down bot. They're not even dragging In Your Dream away from that bot lane. He's still showing up. He's still farming those laning creeps. He's not playing in his own triangle yet, because they know that as long as they keep de-shoving this, T1's going to be forced to respond and forced to try to make something happen to clear that space out.
Absolutely. Gabby, he has not made his way over to the triangle yet. He'll be there soon, though, and this is where you want to kind of abuse the Monkey King vision, but instead they're going to go top lane. He actually does drop the tree down with the arena. It just won't matter, though. Zephyr is going to go down. NGX with another great gank. They might be able to set up for that top tier 1 tower. Though, John, I think the trade-off here is you are going to allow Gabby to take those stacks away for free. And I feel like if you're this Monkey King, you'd much rather be getting the vision right now to maybe set up a team fight here and stop Gabby from doing this.
He's still building up really nicely. Number 2 network now, eclipsing Alacrity. Top tier 1, still a really big objective for them to take. They can play around the top jungle, secure their own triangle a little bit better, although you'd want the mid tier 1 to be gone as well from T1's end to really stabilize that area. But this is starting to open up the map just a bit more for NGX and allow them to be really aggressive. They're reaching a point as well here, Mike, where Alacrity's almost at the Orchid. And I think once you've got that with the triple null, you're really not going to have too many issues jumping in, getting control. But you have to be wary, Mike. And Zephyr has the egg. He hasn't dropped it yet. That's going to allow them to play a little bit more on that mid for the defense.
Build mid tier 1 tower going down. NGX.SEA, they should be able to get away with it. Deny attempt from Carl, but it does not end up landing, and so far so good here for NGX. They continue moving through the map. I didn't quite expect them to be able to secure that mid-tier 1 tower this early on, but they do get away with it. And you'll dream right into that dire jungle now. In the meantime, of course, Paulison, no, they catch him out, Cuckoo. They had the vision on the high ground. They'll just chop down the tree. Paulison, he will get punished. That's a very nice ward there from the supports of T1, just in preparation for that movement from Paulison.
They know there's a Monkey King, they know there's likely some shenanigans happening to get some vision out to spot the farm, so they do manage to punish. That's not the biggest kill, but this will enable them to go for a follow-up smoke play. They've got that blink up on Cuckoo here, Mike. That immediate stun with a Dragon Tail melee form, and then the follow-through with the Dragon form. It's going to be pretty tough for NGX if they get caught off guard. And they've got a big target here if they catch Alacrity out.
If they can, though. Alacrity has plenty of mana, should just be able to zip away, unless Cuckoo can get in with the jump with the blink and the stun. Alacrity, oh, he's going for that next creep wave. Gabby does show himself. Maybe just trying to bait here, but well, the bait is not being taken. Alacrity, who does just go back towards his own T2 tower, and he does realize there's just way too many heroes off the map missing right now. Or does he? Oh, he's going to show up again. But no, he's playing it very cautiously. He'll be fine.
Yep. All this movement out from T1 has also enabled NGX now to clear their own triangle. So in your dreams, getting some good catch-up form. Still doesn't quite compare to the Deuce, but you're not too far behind, although...
Well, they try to make the jump in. Cuckoo going to be unsuccessful. And Paulson, he'll get away with the illusion rune of the Monkey King. No, he's going to be careful in that dire jungle. Again, the vision is still there. Paulson is going to try and de-ward while he can. Cuckoo, he'll do the same, but they have not found the Observer Ward they were looking for. And again, this has allowed Gabby enough time now to have that full Manta up. And whether you're playing Drow or not, John, you tend to not be able to keep up with the Medusa in terms of farm.
No, I mean, it's still not the worst farming matchup. Drow can still play around with multi-shot, so it doesn't feel as bad. But the Medusa does feel a little bit more impactful, especially considering all the ways you have from T1 to gap close. You can jump in with your Phoenix, you can just blink up with a DK to take away the precision aura. So a lot of the damage of that Drow just kind of disappears if you're not careful. And you still have to consider those wider team fights that the panel mentioned. There's Egg, there's Tombstone in the middle of these bigger fights that will come out, and that's still all on the Drow. So in a perfect fight, it just feels like T1 has a lot of ways of dragging the focus of the Drow away from the main heroes and make it a lot harder to find the angle. Still, NGX, they're going for their own smoke play as 4 here.
And they go. They've got an Orchid up on Alacrity now, and they're going to run right into Whitemon. He'll break the smoke for the team, so he'll tank the gank. Not the most amazing kill for NGX.SEA, but again, it's something. And allows Alacrity to show off that new Orchid. There's Mizu. Oh, they're all just TPing up towards the top lane. It seems like they're going to try and force another fight on the opposite side of the dire jungle. Because you've got this great timing now, so there's just no reason to sit back and relax. You definitely want to start to get active here against T1. And props to In Your Dream, John. He's been following his team around quite often, but he is really just keeping up in net worth quite nicely.
Yeah, just hasn't fallen off too bad. Not too much pressure coming out. Gabby shows under Paulson here. Be a nice kill if they commit for that on top.
Not the easiest kill, though.
Bottom tower is under attack.
Scan out of the Roshan pit, actually, from NGX.SEA, so they're going to see some heroes around that area. They've got to know the Roshan's not actually happening, though. Gabby was showing at the top lane, so instead they're going to see Whitemon. But again, it's not really the target you want to make a jump in on if you can avoid it. Are they setting up for Roshan, T1? They're certainly sticking around the pit. They've got level 2 exorcism up. it just feels like a little bit of a risky attempt, and they aren't going to go for it anyway. They're just going to back off again. No, never mind. They're moving in.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Into the pit, they've got Tombstone, they've got Flesh Golem to get some damage amp up, and they're going to commit. NGX do have good vision, they could try to zip in, they've got to use that blink on Mizu well here. Roche does melt pretty fast though, Mike.
They've smoked up, they're going to try. Roshan is still falling, however, and Cuckoo, he'll wait outside the pit as Illuminate, going to give a bit of vision, but the jump in is there. Cuckoo, right on the Mars, reaction so quick, but now Alacrity, he's made the jump in, he's got the Aegis! Oh, he's taken it away from T1. They'll lose the Mars, they'll get the Aegis up, and T1, they're just going to have to leave now. Great steal from the Storm as the rest of T1, they focused on taking down Mizu, John. And eventually, Alacrity, he was just able to out-click Gabby on that Deucer.
He steals the Aegis, he gets the kill on Roche as well. So T1 literally take nothing from that pit, except for that one kill. It did look a bit awkward to blink in from Mizu. It looked like he didn't quite land his spear. Doesn't matter. It opens up that space, as you mentioned, for that Aegis to come, and that should enable Alacrity to play really aggressive. Gabby's pretty far forward here, not the safest spot. He canceled his TP as well. They want to commit for that if they see him. That could be big.
They're trying to look for him right now, John, but Gabby is out of range. Mizu still rushing for him. Does get the pings out with the vision, but realizes Gabby's a bit too far now. In fact, now with the rotation, Zephyr and Carl moving their way up. Arena, though, immediately dropped it from Mizu. That'll be a Phoenix to die. He does eventually surely go down, and he does. Zephyr, no egg to throw out, even if he wanted it. That wouldn't have really helped his cause anyway. Bot lanes. Good. Good for a chase onto Polison, but more heroes are rotating. NGX.SEA very quick with the reactions here as they do move in again with this Orchid onto Whitemon, and now Cuckoo. He'll be vortexed up. Wukong's command being committed as well. They want the Dragon Knight, and they've probably got him. Polison with a double kill on the Monkey King. And NGX, I mean, after that game one, John, they have come back with a vengeance.
Oh yeah, they're finding their openings really well. They're using the long-range control they have, that long-range jump they have with the Storm quite nicely. T1's big issue is their two supports can't really playmake, right? Like Zephyr and Whitemon can't jump in, immediately stun someone to set up. All of that pressure is on Cuckoo, and he has to make that choice between using the Dragon Tail in melee or range form, which makes it a lot tougher to gap close as well. And you can only hold one, whereas you look at NGX, you can always start the fight with Boundless, you've got Vortex from a mile away, you've got Arena. Your team fight control is a lot better despite those aspects of T1 having these monuments and objects that the Drow has to hit. We haven't seen the hold from T1 to make that happen. So we need to be able to see T1 force that kind of big 5-on-5 fight with a Tombstone and Egg. Nigma Galaxy's just done a great job of avoiding that condition. Just constantly play pickoffs, catch T1 off guard while they're farming. T1 has grouped up as 5. Gabby will break up his smoke. They don't have the most aggressive vision right now from T1, so they don't have the info to really find anyone on the map just yet.
Again, Polison will be around to break the smoke in that Radiant Triangle. Cuckoo. Still avoiding his smoke being broken, but eventually does just pop the Dragon form and now realizes the MK was around somewhere. And look at NGX.SEA, how quickly they rotate. They're going to go for a counter smoke. They want the fight. They know how powerful they are right now. Oh, and Gabby, he's kind of been left behind here, or maybe not, as Cuckoo was the first one spotted, but instead they found the Zephyr Phoenix once again. And they're just not going to mess around. Into the Tombstone, Cuckoo, he'll try to protect it, but it's still going down that Roshan pit, and the Tombstone's gone. And even if you found Alacrity, he still has the Aegis up. He probably would not mind a reset right now anyway.
Yeah, would have been perfectly fine with going for a second life, diving even deeper. NGX have done a great job of just not allowing T1 to find that perfect fight. In your dream, managing to keep up pace with the Deuce as well, as we pointed out earlier, Mike, still within 1,000 gold, so you don't have that major advantage on the Deuce. You don't have that big one item spike over anyone else. And that is allowing them to still keep up pace. And it's only a 4K lead for NGX, but it feels a lot bigger just because T1 hasn't been able to find any of these fights. You know, they've just not been able to play off this blink off Cuckoo for a while. We haven't seen that big combination with a Tombstone Egg. Every single time, NGX just finds one of the supports, and that's enough to remove T1's presence in this fight. Again, just comes down to the control. It comes down to circles, Mike. You've got the arena, you've got the Wukongs on top. Whereas T1, they've got these circles, but they're not hard circles. You know, Egg, it doesn't really keep anyone in. You have to force them to face that way. You've got Tombstone as well. You need to find these choke points instead of creating your own. Whereas for NGX, they jump in with Arena, immediately creating a choke point. Immediately setting up control for the Boundless, for the Vortex onto 1. It feels tough for T1.
Oh.
Like, I'm not...
Hello?
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Breaking Twitch TOS here right now, John. Goodness me. Let's
Oh
be
my.
careful. Wow. What an intimidating and very handsome figure, might I add. And there's the crazy snake lady as well. By the way, John, just so you're aware, because you were annoying me earlier about not ever complimenting you on our casts. How do you expect me to if your analysis is circles, John? And in particular, hard circles now.
Yeah, hard circles and soft circles. Hard controlled circles, soft controlled circles. You know, Deuce is a soft controlled circle as well with a stone gaze.
These aren't tacos, John.
They could be. If you try hard enough, Mike, anything can be a taco.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. It's Gabby now going to get jumped. Alacrity, a great jump in. Arena down as well. They're going to get through that mana, though. They're going to try and help, but no, the Boundless strike out. Cuckoo, he cops it immediately, and they're gone. Oh, Whitemon, just run, sir. It's not a pretty sight whatsoever for T1. And that was really just a perfect setup there from Polison. Immediate stun with the blink in from Cuckoo.
Oh yeah, they just hit and run, and I love how NGX are playing this well. They're just all over the map. They're using the recall on the Cockle so well. They're just jumping and get.
Alacrity's been doing a great job this game, John. Just so active on this storm, and Zephyr, he just can't catch a break. Alacrity, really just the I want to say the MVP of the team right now. Just so effective on this Storm Spirit, just setting up absolutely everything. And T1, they just don't have a response.
No. Again, it just boils down to the fact that your hard controls really just blink Dragon Tail from Cuckoo, and that only keeps 1 down. Like, ideally, I think you'd want to be able to stun the Storm, but then that means no one's going to be gap closing on the Drown to stop the marksmanship from coming through. It makes it a lot tougher to stop that damage out. You're still finding decent farm on Dedusa, but it's not quite enough. And it feels like as this game goes on, it's just going to be tougher and tougher. Like, yeah, your Deuce is going to scale, but your control just has no options. You have no other way of keeping these heroes in check because of all of these heroes' spell kits. No one has stuns, except Cuckoo, really. And, you know, stuns win games, Mike. That's just a matter of fact with Dota 2 sometimes.
It certainly is, Jonathan. Stuns do tend to win games. And NGX.SEA, 17-5, 8k net worth advantage for themselves. A very strong position. T1, can you talk to me about what they can do here? Goodness me. Thank you for that, Pythian. That is a horrifying face. I was not aware they looked like that. There you go.
Close. Yeah, it looks like something out from Elden Ring. What were you saying, Mike, before we saw some terrifying creeps?
Oh, hold on, I want to put Pythian under pressure now, Pythian. Go on, show me something interesting. Give me a talking point, Pythian, quick. Pressure's on. It's ticking.
Oh, no.
Oh, we've missed it. We've missed it. Next time, Pythian. Next time.
Yeah, it's just tough for T1, Mike. Stuns win games, circles win games as well, and you're seeing the strength of NGX's circles. Just meaner, tougher, harder circles coming out. T1, you don't want a soft taco here, Mike. You want a nice crispy shell. Still, they're smoked up here.
Don't take my taco comment as an analysis point for yourself in the future, please. I'm warning you right now. Mid lane, T1. Still looking around in that triangle. I was going to ask you earlier, by the way, John, if we could go back to being serious. What do T1 need to do in this game to pull it back their way?
It feels like they just need to get good initiation. Play off Cuckoo, get a good jump in, throw the egg on top, throw the tombstone on top. Don't get caught by NGX. Every single time these fights break off, it's NGX making the jump. It's them using their Monkey King vision. It's them getting the jump with Alacrity zipping across or Mizu getting a good blink off. T1 can't afford to do that because their counter initiation, it's not good enough. Like NGX finds the right targets. The moment I think you lose your either support, it becomes very hard to gain ground. It becomes very hard to contest the control of NGX. So maybe now with Zephyr's Yules, you feel a lot better in terms of punishing that Zip Orchid use. They have got to be able to play as 5 and dictate the fight themselves. They've got to initiate first, Mike.
Right now, they're just sitting back. I suppose you just kind of wait out some more timings here. And Gabby is working towards that silver edge right now. Problem is, in your dream and the rest of the team, they're more than happy to fight.
Radiant are
And they'll move in. Can they get into the triangle, though? Great scan out, but Whitemon, he's there to break the smoke. And will. Immediate tombstone is there as well, but they are taking it down with the arena onto Cuckoo. That'll be a Dragon Knight just being deleted as the egg. It does come out. Alacrity's trying to deal with it in time. They can't get it off, though. The egg will explode, and they'll keep the fight going. In the meantime, Carl dealing with the backside as Mizu, he is burning to a crisp. And does go down, but now it's onto Carl. The turnaround. They've got the Death Prophet. Gabby, he's going to back off ASAP, but Alacrity once again is all over it. Onto the Deucer. This will be a full team wipe against T1, and they've got it. NGX.SEA are just uncontested in this game number 2, at least thus far. John, you kind of mentioned it. T1, they need to be the aggressors, but they're not doing so.
They're really not, and you have to appreciate NGX's angles there. They forced the fight in 2 fronts. There was a left side fight, a right side fight, immediate boundless strike onto Cuckoo and Gabby, cutting them off. And then even before Mizu died, the egg was going off. He managed to get the spear right on the egg pop. So even on that resurrection, no immediate sun ray, no immediate spirits to slow down the fight. NGX just had the answers, and it's just back to that point, Mike. T1 cannot afford to counterfight. Not when NGX gets these good angles to get this split up because of the mobility of the Storm, because of the reach of the Monkey King. It just kind of boils down to draft a bit and the way you have to execute for T1. They just have to get those good jumps on Cuckoo. There's a lot of pressure on the DK. The BKB on that Dragon Knight's going to help massively. But beyond that, you still have control issues. Maybe it's time to think about Carl starting to pick up that shard. You know, that fear could make some good work if you do get the Spirit Siphon running. And that could be one angle as well to help them get some control in these engagements.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
NGX.SEA still very confident. T1 gonna just try and defend that tier 2 top tower. Engagement might come out soon. Mizu, no, never mind. Alacrity, he'll be the one in. Cuckoo again being targeted on the Dragon Knight, but the heals are there in time to give him a second chance at life. Instead, now T1, they're trying to move in with the Yules out on Mizu, but he's fine. Nobody drops quite yet, but NGX.SEA, they're still waiting for their moment to go back in again.
Dire are scanning.
They won't, though. T1 has already left the building. They've repositioned around their tombstone within that protection. But NGX, they're going to force him to go north and perhaps defend this T2 top tower. It's a hard fight, John. Everyone's still so healthy here on NGX.SEA. See if T1 can manage it.
Yeah. I mean, they don't have the tombstone in this area. They still have Egg, but that tower's just gone. Oh,
that's the main target. Egg is out. In your dream being targeted, but he does get the BKB off in time. Now Arena does go down, but Gabby, he'll keep fighting. The Mars in trouble. Mizu, he should drop soon. Jokam's already gone, but now the turnaround. Alacrity's there with the Vortex. They've got one down. He's gotten himself out of there. Cuckoo, he is still trying. Alacrity going to TP out right in front, but no, he's not going to make it. Which way did that go, John? It was a 3 for 3 with a buyback being committed there from Jokam. Who does it favor?
It feels a lot better for T1, because sure, you lose out in your DP at this point. The Storm is just such a high-value kill, and you manage to take off the off lane as well on the Mars. So you're fighting 2 core kills for 2 supports and your mid, who's not really at the point where scaling's too important. And you're giving a lot now to Gabby. He still doesn't have that massive lead over in your dream right now. Kami Tom is still keeping up well. But that is a sign of life for T1. And that was still a decent jump in from T1. They managed to get control. It's as we said, though. You know, Cuckoo this time gets to be the aggressor. He jumps in, he isolates a Drow, and NGX's fallback just kind of falls apart. The Egg was really good zoning out from Zephyr to prevent the follow-up, and they just couldn't get the damage off. It looked pretty close. NGX still found a couple of kills, but they couldn't focus in on the Dusa, on the DK, with all the sustain finally coming out from T1. And that's what we need to see again. So they've executed it once, Mike. They just need to rinse and repeat, force NGX to collapse onto an area while Cuckoo manages to jump them in and break that off and clean up with your softer circles. Like you saw the Egg do a lot of good work. You didn't have Tombstone in that fight as well. Next time around, if Whitemon gets a Tombstone on top of that Egg, it feels like you're going to be able to find a lot more.
Dire's top tower has been denied.
Who was it again that introduced you to this circle thing, John? Who was it?
I'm
do I
not
have to
sure.
blame for
I
this?
remember hearing it from panel on Tour 1. And then I kind of ran it hard with Parker, so it must have been from Tour 1 panel. Maybe it was Parker, I'm not sure anymore. Maybe it was Sheep. One of them, Mike. Someone raised up the
Thank you for
circles,
that, John.
and I've been
Not
writing with
snitching,
it.
I see. Very good, John. Very, very good. Roshan up. Both teams, of course, desperate to get this Roshan. I think T1 more so than NGX right now, but it is still a very close game. Arcane Rune going to be spotted out, but it is going to be denied off. Gabby with the illusions, getting rid of that, so Mizu can't even think about it as the smoke is there. They've got to know that NGX.SEA isn't that triangle right now. Mizu, however, going for the mid creep wave, may get jumped. They've got the stun out. They should have plenty of damage, and they've got him. Boundless Strike was there, but it's just a bit too late. And as T1, you've got to force Roshan right now. Get the buyback going from Mars. Counter smoke is there, however. NGX.SEA, they're ready. They're prepping. It's Wukong's command. He's going to fly out immediately. They just want to wait out that exorcism timing. They don't want to fight into that as Whitemon is going to get completely demolished by In Your Dream. They'll go right after the tombstone and grab that too. And now with the buyback, Mizu, he's onto Carl. They've got the Death Prophet. Alacrity doesn't juke out the, or rather get the BKB force status. Now the arena is there. Mizu holding everyone else back. In Your Dream though, he's been targeted. They've got the Sunray, they've got the stun. They might just have the damage. He's still trying. Manta's there. He has survived. In Your Dream, still running out, still sticking down, but it's not enough. They get him out of there. The pos one of NGX.SEA has TP back towards the fountain. But T1, their eyes are set on Roshan. That's what's really important right now. Problem is, against the Monkey King, it's so hard to fight into it. So they'll wait patiently, hoping NGX.SEA goes for it instead. And Alacrity, he will get started. You can't let this go down if you're T1. Not the other way, but Alacrity, he might just pick it up and he's got it again. The Aegis is there on the Storm, and now Cuckoo, he tried to steal, but he's going to drop. And Alacrity, he just zips right out. He has not lost the Aegis. He'll be able to use it another day as now Carl's just copying way too much damage. Kami-sama's got him. In fact, let Mizu take it instead. With the shield crash, and now to the Phoenix they go. Zephyr not safe either. In fact, make Whitemon a part of that list. Zephyr, he'll be chased down and he'll be taken out. NGX.SEA once again coming out on top.
Oh, you have to appreciate that, you know, after immediately going home, In Your Dream just gets recalled back in. They know they can just keep forcing that fight out. Without the egg, without the Stone Gaze, and without the Tombstone, T1's teamfight just falls flat. These are pretty long cooldowns as well, especially that Tombstone. It's some time intervals you have to wait for T1 in comparison to NGX. I mean, Arena's pretty low cooldown, 90 seconds. Wukong's isn't that bad at 80, so you can just constantly run in, and you know, you've got the follow-up from all of your AoE spells as well. And with that Aegis up, Galacti's feeling confident to just go high ground. With Paulson sieging, they don't even have In Your Dream here, but they're doing decent work and just melting the objectives. T1 will have their teamfight spots for the defense, though.
Yeah, Cuckoo's in. Mizu, he'll be targeted first. Alacrity, though, right into the backside, trying to aim down Whitemon again on that Undying, and he's got him. A 1-for-1, but certainly in the favor of T1 this time. They've got that offlane Mars, and that was actually a dieback on Mizu. T1 still showing signs of life and not going to give up yet. That'll be about all they get, but they do successfully defend high ground, and that's what's really important.
They punish that overextension from NGX just a bit more, and Cuckoo managing to get the good jump forward does make all the difference in the world. T1, they're still in the game. 9k behind at 33 minutes is not the best situation, certainly in NGX's favor, but your Drow is also not too far ahead of the Medusa. So you're very even in your two win conditions. Your one issue is that Storm Alacrity.
Yeah, he is a big issue right now. Alacrity gonna find Cuckoo here with Paulson. Scabby actually is sneaking up here with the Silver Edge. I'm not sure if he's actually gonna commit, and he won't. It's like he wanted to think about getting involved there. And to make matters worse for T1, John, Alacrity's gonna run right into a double damage room.
Yep, even more output here for Alacrity. He's also got the Shard from that second Roche, so he's got the Overload bouncing around here. It's going to be very nice to have on the allied heroes. And that's just going to make all the hits coming out from our Drow even more painful. T1, I mean, their high ground defense is pretty good, though. They can hold nearly forever with Stone Gaze, with the Egg, with the Tombstone, so it is a difficult prospect for NGX to actually just force the fight on high ground. It feels like for NGX, they've got to take the fight outside, find the big targets they want, maybe even just the supports are going to be enough. Force the buybacks on the high ground, pull back, rinse and repeat, and try to force it down. Like, as long as you don't have to deal with the Egg and Tombstone, with its Stone Gaze on top, NGX can clear out, but they're going to need to find those kills to make that happen for the Siege.
Yeah. T1's still just going to hold that triangle. This Drought, in your dream, having a great game. 12-1-6 is the scoreline. And, of course, John, you would have heard earlier, but one of the talent of the SEA DPC doubted this, calling it a garbage tier Drought. Very, very terrible analysis by whoever that was. I want that person held accountable after this, Jonathan. That was a terrible take. It's in your dream. Gonna move in. Gabby will be targeted. Carl will move in, but no, they've got the Monkey King this time. Problem is Alacrity is the real issue here. But he has already forced out the BKB onto In Your Dream. A massive gust out from the Drow into the arena. They've trapped up two. But can they deal with Gabby? Perhaps after that BKB they can. Alacrity, he is still perfectly fine. Moving back in onto the Medusa. The Snake Lady surely doesn't survive through this, as Cuckoo's trying to help the best he can, but they've got him locked down, and there's nothing they can do to keep him alive. Is it a full team wipe? It might just be. Alacrity, a bit low on mana. Won't be able to finish off Whitemon, but John, surely you're going high ground once again.
Looks like the route NGX wants to take is true to bot lane, clear up the last tier 2. Into the high ground now for T1. They still have Egg. They don't have Stone Gaze. So that entire defense just becomes a little bit harder. And considering the damage output right now of our Drow, this is not going to take too long at all to clear out that tier 3. So T1, looking at a couple of losses on the high ground, it feels like if they drop this next fight, NGX could just go straight for the Ancient if they're not careful.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Alacrity just trying to die to get that Aegis respawn going for himself, but nobody around to kill him off. So instead, NGX.SEA, they'll rush for the tier 4 towers and force the buyback from Cuckoo, and that'll be enough. One racks up. They are not going to push anything too far, or maybe they will in your dream. And Mizu going to move back in. I suppose it is still a 5v4 scenario. You're going to be fighting without that POS1 Doocer. So never a better time for NGX.SEA to just keep going. In the meantime, Alacrity immediately getting the BKB forced out from Carl. That's just not a good start to this fight. You're going to be fighting without that BKB and without Exorcism. I don't know how T1 do this. They've got to wait for Gabby at the least, but it's just such a hard defense.
Yeah, it's a toughie. They'll have Tombstone up. They have Stone Gaze with a Deucer respawn, so they could try to play again with that Egg. We need to see a really good jump here from Cuckoo to get things started.
Dire's top tower has
Gabby starting again with the Boundless. They know the Monkey King is in the tree line as Whitemon's going to have a look around, but does jump right back out. And it does seem like NGX.SEA, they aren't going to rush for that final line of barracks. They're going to back off. Wait for another day. Wait for another opening. This will allow T1 just a little bit of breathing room to try and make a comeback here, but again, it's just so hard with a 25k net worth deficit. And never mind the waiting. NGX.SEA, they'll smoke up as 5. They have spotted out an Undying down at the bot lane. Oh, Gabby, he's a much bigger target. They might have him. Can keep him down, but they won't. Still the patience game from this Radiant team. Nice Frog gifting Kami-sama with the leveler. Just in case he needed even more damage onto those structures. Why the hell not?
Yeah, doesn't quite take it. Does have the spider legs for now. So let's see if he'll opt for it. Does have Courier flying out. And even the Spell Prism coming out here as well. Everything you could ask for NGX. T1 doesn't have that luxury of dipping outside for the jungle, so no immediate neutral spikes for them. I mean, if you think about T1's draft, Mike, like all the damage is mainly coming through from Gabby. We're at the point where Bulwark's doing a lot as well from Mizu. Like in some of these fights where he does get to live through, our Mars just stands for it, Bulwark on, and damage output's not there, even if you have the gap close onto In Your Dream. So it's just so much you have to worry about for T1 on the jump, and again, it feels like all of that's really just down to Cuckoo. Like you're just at this point where your only initiation is Dragon Tail Stun, and it has been Dragon Tail Stun the entire game. Because again, your support duo just doesn't give you angles. There is really good follow-through, but they don't open up these fights So
Dire's top
it's just
barracks are under
difficult.
attack.
T1's in a very difficult position for the defense. They are going out now, but that's into vision of NGX.
Here we go again, Alacrity. He's got the Vortex and Aghanim set up this time. Whitemon again getting deleted. Paulison, he'll get the Wukongs off in time. He's got a bit more time as now the egg has been committed. Is it being dealt with though? It doesn't seem like it, so maybe T1, they've got a chance to fight back here as the egg. It does explode, but buybacks are incoming as Alacrity into the backside has killed off Carl, and now he's got Cuckoo on the Dragon Knight. They've even got Gabby on the Dusa. Everyone melting, and they call the GG. NGX.SEA come back with a vengeance in game number 2. And luckily for us, John, we're going to see a game number 3 between these two teams.
Oh, it's such a close fight between both sides. NGX looking as dominant as T1 did in that last game. And they're back in form as well. This is the NGX we've been looking for quite a while. You know, it's been a bit up and down. This is the NGX we remember from that Tour 1 run in Div 2. And at their finest, they're just such a great team. They play really well. They had such good control coming out. As you mentioned, Mike, Alacrity just popped off here. Just managed to get all the jumps they needed and force T1 into awkward spots. I think for T1, again, a little bit on the draft, in my opinion. The support duo just has a lot of sustain, not a lot of hold. And when it came down to it, you're dealing with Monkey King, you're dealing with Storm. They have a lot of jump. It made it really difficult to just handle team fights when they came out.
And nobody believed in them, John. I mean, even Kami-sama getting 14 kills in this Drow Ranger. And again, I don't remember who said it. Somebody said Drow Ranger's a garbage tier hero. In fact, let's go to a break, John. I got to get back to this panel because I got to see what they've got to say for themselves.